Hi everyone. So I had another productive day today. Today was my day of rest, but I still went for my walk and I went swimming as well. And I love to swim. It's one of my favorite ways to exercise and to go walking. I don't run anymore because of my knees, but I do love to swim. And we're very lucky here. We have floodlights in the pool. So, not in the pool, but on the pool. So I can go swimming. And there's always people around. There were people upstairs when I went up. And it's not that late, so it was nice to go. So today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to combine this Book of Blessings by John O'Donohue and the John Maxwell. I'm going to read a poem, and it's called For a Friend on the Arrival of Illness. Now is the time of dark invitation. Beyond a frontier you did not expect. Abruptly, your old life seems distant. You barely noticed how each day opened a path through the fields, never questioned, yet expected deep down to hold treasure. Now your time on earth becomes full of threat. Before your eyes, your future shrinks. You lived absorbed in the day-to-day, so continuous with everything around you that you could forget you were separate. Now this dark companion has come between you. Distances have opened in your eyes. You feel that against your will, a stranger has married your heart. Nothing before has made you feel so isolated and lost. When the reverberations of shock subside in you, may grace come to restore you to balance. May it shape a new space in your heart to embrace this illness as a teacher who has come to open your life to new worlds. May you find in yourself a courageous hospitality towards what is difficult, painful, and unknown. May you learn to use this illness as a lantern to illuminate the new qualities that will emerge in you. May the fragile harvesting of the slow light help to release whatever has become false in you. May you trust this light to clear a path through all the fog of old unease and anxiety, until you feel arising within you a tranquility profound enough to call the storm to stillness. May you find the wisdom to listen to your illness. Ask why it came, why it chose your friendship, where it wants to take you, what it wants you to know, what quality of space it wants to create in you, what you need to learn to become more fully yourself, that your presence may shine in the world. May you keep faith with your body, learning to see it as a holy sanctuary, which can bring this night wound gradually towards the healing and freedom of dawn. May you be granted the courage and vision to work through passivity and self-pity, to see the beauty you can harvest from the riches of this dark invitation. May you learn to receive it graciously and promise to learn swiftly, that it may leave you newborn, willing to dedicate your time to birth. And then today for the John Maxwell, I'm looking at the law of buy-in, and it's again this book, The 21 Most Powerful Minutes in a Leader's Day. And this is the book. So today is day 4. The more attraction assets you possess, the more attractive you become. The mark of a good leader is loyal followers. Leadership is nothing without a following, and that's from Proverbs 14:28. So he's again focusing on Gideon and Gideon taking action in his spiritual journey on earth. The first point that he mentions is calling. Few things are as compelling to followers as a clear calling in the life of a leader. Someone who has received and accepted a calling usually possesses vision, passion, energy, and commitment. So when we have a calling, we like doing something, we're attracted to it. It's not an effort for us to do it. And that could be your career, it could be a vocation, it could be music that you're passionate about. It's something that compels you and attracts you to take action to do it. The second point is insight. People respect a leader who possesses keen insight, who has the wisdom to see the real issue in any situation, and who can see what's ahead. So he's giving the example how Gideon was able to see into the weak hearts of the enemies of the day, the Midianites, before he was able to bring them down. And he put his men to battle, putting his trust in God, knowing that the victory would come. So for me, why I picked that poem today was because when I was diagnosed as being delusional and having anxiety, I knew that report was false, but I had no way. If I had to stand alone and everybody else was saying, yes, it's her, there's something wrong with her, then how was I going to fight that? I had no way of fighting it. So I did what I saw other Christians who have come here from South Africa do. Everywhere I went, I started taking photographs to prove where I was at what time, so that those who were reporting me to the police, bringing me down, wanting to know how much I was spending on my groceries, when it was none of their business really, and putting in false accusations about me, would not have any grounds to stand on, because that is what other South Africans who have come here have done. The Jesuits who were at the Newman Center have done that, and they used to post their pictures about what they were doing, where they were going. Matthew Chisholm was one of my friends who did that, and I saw him when I went back to South Africa, and he was very supportive of me when I was there, and he kept in touch. He told me, speak to Sister Gilles, and she will stand by you. And she did. A lot of the Regis professors did, and they were very upset that I got such a bad report from Sunnybrook Hospital, because everybody knew what was happening. And then when I started my job in the call center, it was very stressful for me, because I used to work on very high-level projects, very strategic projects, where I was doing testing and rollout of communications, mergers, acquisitions. So this was very different, and my ears got affected. I started suffering with tinnitus, and I did start getting anxiety because of the abuse on the calls. And also because I was not used to, I never worked with people who were calling me because they wanted to discuss their sex lives, or they were masturbating on the phone, or they were, when you tell them to stop, that you're going to hang up, they're like, I'm paying you, you stay on the line until I finish my business. I mean, it was revolting for me. So all of that brought on anxiety for me, and it brought on health problems, and for like even nosebleeds. I never had nosebleeds in Canada. And my doctor told me, well, part of it is that when you go out into the fresh air and you come in, the air in your unit is dry. but you're also under a lot of stress. So that is also affecting you. My nose used to bleed sometimes for an hour, and I could not stop it. There used to be clunks of plasma just coming out. And I used to feel dizzy. I used to get heart palpitations. So I had to learn how to control that. Sometimes I couldn't even take a break to go to the bathroom because the calls were back to back. Or you're on a chat and it's going on for 10 minutes or 12 minutes. And it was very, very hard for me. So I had to learn to accept my illness and also to, one, prove myself to others, two, provide the evidence, and also not deny that, okay, I have limitations now with my ears, I have limitations in terms of the work I can do. The ideal would have been if I had found a different executive assistant role or a permanent project manager role with one of the banks. But that didn't happen. So for 16 years, I've had nothing but poor wages, sporadic work, being pushed from one place to another. And I've had to accept that my body is not the same. I'm not the same person. And I have to accept my limitations. And so that's why I chose that poem, because it gives you insight into what is the illness trying to teach you, or how can you learn from others around you. And that's what I had to do. I had to reach out to Sister Gilles. I had to reach out to Regis. I had to reach out to people that I knew would stand by me, who knew I was telling the truth and would not allow me to go to jail and would not allow the police to think that I'm a liar. So that's what I had to do. And if you have to stand alone, which you may have to do in Canada, a lot of women and men have to when they encounter sexual harassment, abuse, all this kind of thing. And many people go through it in the contact center, not just me. And even when they try to stop it, they have no way of stopping it, because the people calling in don't only threaten to sue your company, they threaten to sue you and to get you off your job and to have you blacklisted so that you can never work again in Canada or the US, because they have that kind of power and political clout. And they tell you openly, I want your name, I want your ID. I'm like, you can have my first name, but we don't give out IDs and all that. And they're like, I want to know who your manager is, because I know the CEO of your company, and I'm going to call there and I'm going to have you removed from that campaign, and I'm going to have you blacklisted so you never work again. And they do it. I've had it done in Canada, where I've done the right thing for my job, for my company. I've followed the policies, and then my managers have had to fight to keep me in that position. So it does happen in life. And then the third point is charisma. So sometimes we, especially in the call center, we have to be taught how to make people feel good about themselves. And we have to take the blame for things that are not necessarily our fault, but we have to make them feel good. We have to make them feel better. And we have to take the blame and move forward on our jobs. And then the fourth point is talent. So if you look at the entertainment industry, if you look at people who are very, very gifted and very talented, we're very attracted to them because they have natural talents. Yes, they work at them and they improve them, but you see through the ages how good they are, and you're attracted to that because you're like, wow, look at what talent God has given them. Nobody can put that type of talent in a person. If you can sing, you can sing. If you can dance, you can dance. I mean, yes, you can learn, you can try. But there are some people who are naturally gifted, the athletes. People admire them because they are naturally gifted and we're drawn to them, we follow them. And so too, he points out that we were not told much about Gideon's natural abilities, but the angel called him a mighty man of valor in Judges 6:12. So his talents of courage, physical strength, those are the things that people who go into the army have. They're also very good with giving commands and following orders. So we admire them about that, the precision that people need to do in their work. For us in the call center, we need to be skilled communicators. So I had to learn different ways of approaching my customers, different ways of building relationships, different ways of talking to people so they could understand. I had to deal with disabled people, people who had mental health problems or physical handicaps. And so all those things we get taught. And it's different when it's over the phone or chat or email because you can't see the person. It's much, much harder than if you see them and you can talk to them face to face. And then ability, people love competence. So if we're not good at something, if we're not able to learn, we're not able to change, we're not able to adapt, then our companies won't keep us. So even though I got anxiety, the company saw that I was still achieving my targets. I was still doing everything that I needed to do. I was turning up for work every day. So because of that competence, it was hard when they had to put me on a temporary layoff. And even now, I still check the website every day. I apply for jobs there every day, hoping that I'll get a relocation package. Maybe they can take me to Greece, or they can take me to the UK, or maybe South Africa, if there's no jobs here. Because I would like to stay with them. But again, who knows what God's plan is? When it comes to my competence, I know that I have to take action and I have to improve myself. And then communication skills, which I already touched on. When Gideon spoke to people, they understood and eagerly followed. And they didn't resist his leadership. So it was the same with me. And my supervisors used to say to me, Belinda, the customers like talking to you. I said, yeah, they do like talking to me. Sometimes that used to affect my scores, to bring my scores down. But because I was good and because the customers liked me, they made accommodations. They're like, okay, well, the scores are not that good, but you can't say to people, okay, I need to wrap up the call now. Please hurry up and stop talking because you're bringing my scores down. You can't say that to people, can you? And then the 7th point is character. It takes character win over people's trust. The closer the leader is to the people, the greater the need for character. And so that's true of us in our workplaces, in our churches, in whatever we do. We have to have strong character and we have to be able to stand on our own and face life's challenges. Whether it's in the workplace or whether it's somewhere else, we have to be able to fit into the team and be a part of our teams, our communities, and also be able to train and help the next generation that's coming after us. So everyone possesses these qualities in different degrees. Some come naturally, others have to be worked on. But the number and degree to which a leader possesses them will determine what kind of people and how many people will follow him. None of us is perfect in every quality, but we can always learn and we can always grow. And if someone like me can be tapped on the shoulder by my friends from high school to say, this might help you, then other people can do it too. That's why I'm sharing it with my friends, because if my friends are interested in going into John Maxwell, then I can help them to get into it, or family, or whoever wants to do it. But it was my friend, Jo Orek. She's the one that said to me, I did this John Maxwell and it helped me in my work and maybe it will help you. So that's why I got involved in this John Maxwell. And I've been doing it now for since I joined them when I joined Teleperformance. So it's about 5 years that I've been studying the books and reading and sharing my skills and how they've helped me in the workplace and in my career. And it wasn't easy for me. I used to pay the minimum I could every month until I could finish it and then get my certification and my license. And I also told Teleperformance that if there's an opportunity to use it and to help the company, then, I'd like to do that. So they're also keeping me in mind, which is good, because who knows, maybe there might be an opportunity for me to do workshops with them or to help them within the business. You never know where those opportunities could come from. So today's question for reflection: how much effort are you giving to increasing your attraction assets? So how much effort are you giving to taking action is basically what John Maxwell is asking here in this. And that's the takeaway question that you can look. If you have a disability or if your health is not perfect, nobody's health is perfect. As we age, we all will suffer from illnesses, from different things. That's part of life. I think to grow old is a privilege, but we're fortunate. Some of us have access to doctors, to medical care. We might have shortages now and again of vaccines or of, medicines, but nothing like they face in Africa, nothing like they face in other places compared to North America. So that's the reason that I also do my volunteering in the church, and I'm an activist, because people are pushing for the African nations to also build their own and not be dependent on the West. And they can print their own money just like the US. The US prints their money so that the economy doesn't shut down. So everybody has debt. There's no country that doesn't have debt. It's just that with the African nations, they borrow from the US or they borrow from other places. So that's why it's a different approach, that we try to help wherever we can. And do I miss Zimbabwe? Of course I miss Zimbabwe. I always miss Zimbabwe. But I enjoyed it when I was there, and I enjoy whatever I can here. When I lived with our friends in Bulawayo, the De Silvas, they're family to me now. But when I lived with them also, I used to go. I used to turn the lights on and tell Uncle Felix, I'm going swimming now. He said, go, these children, they don't use anything, go swim. So I enjoyed my life. Whatever difficulties came, whatever challenges came, whether or not I had family around me, I make the most of it and I enjoy it, because, who knows when your time is up. So that's the way I do it.